Hey, what's going on, people? My name is Dwayne McAllister, and you have come to my 3 cents. Thanks. I thank you so much for checking out my channel. And what I like to do on this channel is just have a conversation with all of you about different movies and TV shows that either are out or are coming out. So with all that being said, I just want to get right into it. But before we do that, I guess it's not getting right into it really. But before we get into it, I just want to ask a quick favor of you. If you could do just the few things, which is like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would be very helpful to me with getting the word spread out about these different TV shows and movies that we're talking about, that we're having conversations about. Okay, now with that being said, let's get right into it. Typically, I like to talk about movies themselves, or that movies that I've seen, or shows that might be out. More so movies than the shows. I don't talk about the shows very much. But today, I want to talk about 4 movies that haven't come out yet. So 3 of them have a date, and then there's one that does not have a date outside of just knowing that it's coming out this year. So the 3 movies that we're going to be watching trailers for is going to be A Working Man, starring Jason Statham, Death of a Unicorn, starring Jenna Ortega, and The Woman in the Yard, and that stars Danielle Detweiler. So as I said, The Conjuring 4 is coming out, and it's going to be called Last Rites. So The Conjuring Last Rites. It doesn't have a date yet, but it will be coming out sometime this year. So for The Conjuring Last Rites, the premise of this movie is paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities they must confront. So this, if you're familiar with the Conjuring movies and the Conjuring universe as a whole, you know that this is a horror movie franchise. And all of their movies, I believe, have been rated R, as they should have been. Let me read this right here from Movie Quotes. Movie Quotes is a platform on Instagram that talks about movie news and movie industry news, and also they give out different movie quotes and all that. So they wrote, "It's confirmed that The Conjuring 4 has been rated R in the latest edition, as the final 30 minutes will pay homage to The Exorcist that came out in 1973, featuring Lorraine Warren's possession." So already it's saying that Lorraine Warren is going to be possessed, but I think that she was possessed in like 1 or 2 of the other movies also. I think, if I remember right, she was possessed at least one other time. I think in part 3, she was possessed. Yep, in part 3, she was possessed. The film's plot revolves. It just bothers me. And this is completely doesn't have anything to do with anything really specific to this movie. Why are we still using the word film? Why are we still calling movies films? They don't shoot anything on film anymore for the most part. Most of what you see on a regular basis is digital. Unless I'm incorrect on this, they mostly shoot everything digital and transfer it to computer. Everything is on drives, and they transfer it from the camera to the computer. They don't do anything film anymore. So why are we still using the word film to talk about shooting video when it's all digital? Why are we saying we're videotaping stuff on our phones? There's no tape in here at all. Why are we still using this terminology? But you know what? I digress for now. The film's or the movie's plot revolves around a series of eerie events unfolding at the Warrens' residence, with Lorraine Warren, who's played by Vera Farmiga, at the center, as a past trauma begins to manifest, causing her to exhibit bizarre behavior. One scene is set to surpass the infamous spider walk scene from The Exorcist, leaving audiences on the edge of their seats. So there's a couple things about that. I feel like this is a little bit spoilerish, but because none of us really know what to expect with this movie outside of what we've seen in the past movies, I guess it's not really too much like a spoiler. They're just saying that something is going to be really intense that should get people really on the edge of their seats, as they mentioned. I really hope that that's not like a bring up for a giant letdown like with Long Legs, because there was so much build up for Long Legs that came out last year with Nicolas Cage. And don't get me wrong, Long Legs is a good movie, but it is not a good horror movie though. From a horror standpoint, I think it was nearly a failure, and there was so much build up for it that made it even worse. I think if they had just left, if they left the build up out of it and just let people make their own interpretations of it before they saw it, and then have their interpretations after they saw the movie, I think it would have been more successful. But they tried to make it to be like the scariest movie of the year and all this stuff, and no parts of it was scary at all. I saw an Instagram post where apparently they were recording or gauging the lead actress's heartbeats before she saw Nicolas Cage's character Long Legs in complete makeup, and then after she saw him, and apparently her heartbeat went to something crazy, like I don't know, like 172 beats per minute or something like that, or something really high. I forget exactly what it was. And then when I finally saw Nicolas Cage's character, I was a bit disappointed, because I thought he was gonna look like crazy, like super scary and all this, and he looked a little weird to me. But anyway, I really hope that that's not the route that The Conjuring is going, where they're really trying to get people, you know, just super built up for this being their last hurrah and everything. And then it's just like, well, their former movies were a little bit better than this, or this movie is kind of trash, or whatever the case is. This movie is disappointing to me. Reading this is disappointing to me because I really, really enjoyed the Conjuring universe. I really enjoyed the majority of the movies. All the movies aren't good. Like, I didn't like Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. I didn't like Annabelle, Annabelle Homecoming, I think it was called. That was Annabelle Part 3. I didn't like The Nun Part 1. But I want to say off the top of my head, all the rest of them I liked. Now, The Curse of La Llorona, that movie was okay. Of all the ones that I liked, that was probably at the bottom of the list right there. But here's the reason, aside from not really wanting the universe to come to an end, although things should come to an end before they just start to get ridiculous. But the reason why I'm disappointed in this is because from reading this is telling me that this is not touching on the subject matter that I've been waiting for them to touch upon for several years now. In the first Conjuring movie, and I believe in the first Annabelle movie, they allude to the Amityville horror case. And if you're not aware of the Amityville story, and this is a true story, I forget exactly where it was, but there's a house somewhere in New York, and a family moved into it, and I'm just really summing up everything because, one, I don't remember all the gritty details. It's been a while since I've watched a documentary about it and all that. But two, there's a lot that goes into it. But and there was also a movie made about this. I think there's 3 parts of it. There might be more. I have the first movie, which is more so dealing with the actuality of the story, like the true part and all that, even though they had some cinematic stuff in there that didn't happen at all. Just to make a more compelling climax of the movie and all that. But I digress. So with the Amityville horror, there's a family that moves into a house. There's a mother, a father, their kids. I forget how many kids are boys and girls, but I know at least one brother, and I think he's the oldest, and I forget how many siblings he has and how many of them are boys or girls. But as they're in the house, they're hearing voices, and they're hearing voices tell them get out and all this stuff. So, they ignore all of these omens, if you will, that are happening to them, that are presenting themselves to them while they're in the house. I think at one point the walls were bleeding, things like that. So This one particular night, the family is asleep. The son gets up, grabs a shotgun, and he just goes to every member of the family and does what you would expect. So afterwards, he says that he was possessed and he didn't remember doing any of this stuff. And specifically, he said, the devil made me do it. Now, that was extremely disappointing because The Conjuring 3 was called The Devil Made Me Do It. So I thought, okay, they're doing an Amityville movie. Finally, I've been waiting on this. Conjuring 3 had nothing to do with Amityville at all. I had nothing to do with it. It was something completely unrelated. So that was a disappointment right there. So to read this, to read this about the new Conjuring movie coming out, but it once again has nothing to do with Amityville, and it's also their last movie. Very, very, very disappointed, because I think that with this franchise, with James Wan possibly being at the head of this, like he's been at the head of most of these other movies, James Wan is also responsible for the Insidious franchise, which I'm not a fan of the Insidious franchise, but I know as far as horror movies, it's a huge franchise. I think I just said the Saw franchise, he's responsible for that. I'm a big Saw fan. The movie Malevolent that came out, it wasn't Malevolent? Yes, Malevolent. Hey, is that what it was called? I have to look it up now. Hold on. Okay, not Malevolent, Malignant. I knew. I was like, I'm off. Malignant. James Wan is responsible for Malignant. He's responsible for a couple of different franchises, and a lot of them I'm fans of. So because Malignant was a wild movie, it was different. That movie was different. So I think that he could do a good job telling the Amityville story, but we might not ever know now. And the thing about it is that hurts so much more. So Ed and Lorraine Warren, they are the what's the term that you use for them? I don't want to call them Ghostbusters, or they're the, I don't know if they are. I think they're considered demonologists, where they go, they're not priests, they're not part of the church or anything, but they go to possessed individuals or possessed items or haunted areas, and they try to rid said subject matter of the possessing demon. So Ed and Lorraine Warren were called to the Amityville house to try and get whatever evil presence that was there out of that house. So it only makes sense that the Conjuring series will focus on the Amityville house, seeing how Ed and Lorraine Warren, they're two protagonists in every movie, at least for the Conjuring series, and they even make cameos in the other movies. It seems that they would actually be making an Amityville movie, but they're not going to do that. And I think you can see the passion as to why I am so disappointed by reading this, by finding out this news and all. Excited for the movie, disappointed in the lack of subject matter that I was hoping for. But I digress from that. So now what we're going to do is we are going to watch these trailers for these upcoming movies. So the first trailer that we're going to look at is for the movie A Working Man. Just to give you a quick premise on what this movie is about. The premise is Levon K left his profession behind to work construction and be a good dad to his daughter. But when the local girl vanishes, he's asked to return to the skills that made him a mythic figure in the shadowy world of counterterrorism. So that sounds pretty interesting in itself right there. This sounds like Taken a little bit, but before I get too much into that, let's go ahead and watch the trailer for this movie and see what we think about it. All right, let's go.
So listen, today's gonna be hard. Let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with.
Bingo!
Let's get it. When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job. You were patient with me. You, Carla, Jenny, you're my family.
Excuse me, it's not your business.
I'm good, boss.
Levin, was that some military
Hey, you didn't see anything.
Just get my back if I ever need it.
Jenny's missing.
She went out with her friends on Friday.
The police don't have the resources to work these cases. They take a report and forget about it.
Please, find our daughter.
Where's the girl?
You a cop?
You wish I was a cop.
Yo, these guys are next level.
Look at those bricks. You ain't a cop. You're a working man.
That's right. Let's play. This isn't just some kidnapping. This is human trafficking. Remember Gunny?
Your blind ward buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I will be your weapon sommelier for this evening. This is the real beast here. M14, pulled direct from Saddam's palace. Then I added a Bluetooth scope.
Where is she?
There's a special place, high rollers only. They can do anything as long as they pay.
Gangs, the mob, corrupt government officials, they're all involved in human trafficking. You're in the payroll too.
You killed your way into this. You're gonna have to kill your way out of it.
Food as much.
All of this is for a girl.
I'm not stopping until I bring her home. That's for slapping that woman.
That woman was my wife.
That's for slapping your wife.
Who are you? What are you?
All right, man. That was my first time watching the trailer for this movie, and man, I'll tell you, that trailer made me excited. Like, I really want to see that now. So I feel like Jason Statham is a little bit like Mark Wahlberg. So Jason Statham doesn't always make the best movies, just like Mark Wahlberg doesn't always make the best movies. But I said a long time ago, if Mark Wahlberg is in a movie where he's shooting guns at people, it's probably going to be a good movie. Now, I never saw Max Payne. I heard that was not a good movie, but I'll say 9 times out of 10, if it's Mark Wahlberg and guns, it's probably going to be a good movie, at least from the action standpoint. I say that to say, with Jason Statham, even though he doesn't always make the best movies all the time, because I saw The Meg, and I believe I saw The Meg 2. Those movies weren't great, but they didn't really have Jason Statham in there fighting. If Jason Statham is in a movie and he's fighting and it's about him doing action, it's probably going to be a good movie. Now, all of them are good, just like Transporter 3 was ridiculous. I don't think I ever saw part 2, but I did see part 1. And that movie was great. The action was great in that movie. If Jason Statham is going out there and he's fighting, he's doing action, he has combat of any type, and that's what the movie is more or less focused around, I think it's safe to say that you're going to have a good time watching that movie if you're into action movies. I know that my father is probably going to really like that movie. He's probably waiting for this movie to come out, and he's not even a movie guy, really. Like, he'll watch them, but he is like whatever to him. But this is the type of movie that I think he could really get into. my girlfriend already told me that she would like to see this movie, and I've seen the trailer floating around, but it seems like something that I probably would be into, so I didn't really pay it too much attention because I wanted to wait till I was right here to talk about the movie, and I wanted to have like a legitimate reaction to it and all that. So yeah, that movie looked like it's gonna be pretty good. So just to give a little bit more information about it a little bit. So again, that was A Working Man. It's an action movie, obviously, and this movie is going to be rated R. It comes out on March 28th, and this one will be in theaters, so you'll be able to go and see that one. It won't be streaming right away. But this movie, as you saw, stars Jason Statham, the blind guy, which I think is a very interesting character choice, because usually you see the blind guy and he's something like how Donnie Yen was in John Wick 4. You know, he's the blind swordsman and hand-to-hand combat guy or whatever. Also, Donnie Yen played the blind swordsman in Star Wars Rogue One. And then you also have, you know, the blind swordsman in like samurai movies and things of that sort. But I can't recall seeing a blind marksman. Outside of maybe Daredevil, maybe. But outside of that, no, I think that this is an interesting character type. And the guy that's playing that character, I wouldn't have noticed who that actor was if I hadn't seen already who's playing him. That's David Harbour. If you're not familiar with David Harbour by name, you might know him as Hopper from Stranger Things, or as a character, I forgot what his name was. It was like Red Baron or something like that in the Black Widow movie. And also Michael Pena's in it. I don't know about you, but Michael Pena just has a certain charisma about himself that interests me. Anytime I see that he's part of a cast, I smile a little bit just because I just like that guy, man. But yeah, it seems like this movie, Jason Statham's character, he gets out of the life of being a working man and he's just trying to have a regular life, working construction, and you know, he develops a relationship not only with Michael Pena's character and his wife, also with their daughter. Nothing R. Kelly-ish or anything like that, but you know, kind of like a uncle niece type relationship, whatever. You know, he looks out for her, and you know, he just almost treats her like his own daughter to an extent. That's what it seems like. And she comes up missing. They said somewhere in the trailer that that human trafficking has come into play, and that's why she's missing. So he's on a search to go and find her, and basically his combat roots come out as he's forced to use those to do what he needs to do to get this girl back. So I really think that this is going to be a good movie, and I'm looking forward to it coming out. That's one down for the books right there that I think people that are into action movies, they will probably like that one a whole lot. Okay, so the next trailer that we're about to look at is for the movie Death of a Unicorn. Now, with this movie, this is an A24 production. And, you know, with A24, they like to go against the grain a little bit. They don't like to do just like your everyday, regular, conventional type movies. They like to do some things that are like kind of outside the box, kind of go against the grain, a little bit weird, a little bit dark, gritty, things of that sort. So, you know, they usually have some sort of interesting twist, not to the movie itself, but just in the way that things are produced. So, and everything's not all shiny and pretty when it comes to their stuff, and I can really appreciate that. Now, with the Death of a Unicorn, I'll read the premise real quick and give a little more detail, and then we can watch the trailer and talk about that. So the premise of this one, you have a father-daughter duo, Elliot and Ridley, who hit a unicorn with their car and bring it to a wilderness retreat of a mega wealthy pharmaceutical CEO. So just, you know, that is what that movie is going to be about. Now, I have seen this trailer before, and again, guess it gets a little bit deeper than that, but that is basically the setup for the movie, I guess you could say. That's why everything is happening. So this movie stars Jenna Ortega, and you've seen her all over the place a little bit over the past maybe year or two. You know, she starred as Wednesday Addams in the Netflix series Wednesday. She starred in the last Scream movie, Scream 6, that came out. I think it was early last year. I think it was that movie came out. And then she also was just recently starring as Lydia in Beetlejuice. And then you have Paul Rudd, who's been around for a long time, all the way from Clueless back in the 90s, all the way to now he's playing Ant-Man in the Marvel movies. He was also playing as Mike, who was the love interest of Phoebe, one of her love interests, but they ended up getting married on the show Friends back in the 90s and early 2000s. So Paul Rudd has been around for a very long time himself. And then it also stars an actor, Will Poulter. Now, from a name standpoint, I wasn't very familiar with Will Poulter, but I have seen him in different things over the years. I just didn't know his name. So Will Poulter, most recently that I know of, he didn't star, but he had a reoccurring role in the show The Bear that comes on Hulu. Now, The Bear, which is another show that I would really recommend watching, that actually stars the actor. It revolves around the character Carmi, and Carmi, or Carmine, I think his actual name is. He's played by the same actor who played as Lip in the show Shameless on HBO back when that was coming out and when that was airing. Which, by the way, that was a great show, except for the last 2 seasons were awful, just awful. But the same actor that plays as Lip in Shameless plays as Carmi in The Bear, and The Bear has Will Poulter's character in there as a recurring character. Now, Will Poulter was also in the movie We Are the Millers, and that starred Emma Robertson, I believe her name is, Jennifer Aniston, and Jason Sudeikis. They were all a fake family in this movie in order to reach a goal of making a delivery or something like that. I only saw it one time a couple years back, but I do remember the movie was hilarious. I would recommend that movie. It was a good movie. So funny. So those are the 3 names in this movie: Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd, and Will Poulter. There were some other names, but those were the 3 that stood out for me. I have seen this trailer before, but I only watched it one time. So I think it would be good for me to share the viewing of watching this trailer with all of you. And just to let you know, this movie is rated R. It's a horror comedy. I typically don't like horror comedies very much, but there have been a few that I did like. It's just they get a little bit too goofy and they just kind of kill the mood for me a little bit when it comes to horror movies. But like I said, it's rated R. This movie also comes out on March 28th, just like A Working Man does, just like the next movie we'll be talking about does. And this is also only in theaters. So it's not a streaming movie. This is something to go out to the movies and watch. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Death of a Unicorn by A24.
Ridley? Are you okay?
It kind of felt like it was showing me something. I get this feeling I don't think we're supposed to be here.
The Leopolds donated this entire nature preserve. And they care about a lot of things, not just pharmaceuticals.
Fine. I will sit there and smile.
Sorry, we're late.
What happened? You walked from the airport or what?
It's perfect timing.
I need you to act like everything is fine.
Is there something in your car?
A lot of species in this area are rare.
What exactly are we saying this is, though?
I think we know exactly what it is.
A horse-like mammalia.
With some sort of protrusion or growth.
It's a unicorn.
I don't think I should be in swim shorts for this moment.
I don't think that we're supposed to have this.
We need to study it.
Whatever it is, it seems to be the cure for cancer.
Cancer? That's the biggest one. An opportunity for greatness, for immortality. I've never been so alive.
Dad, please just listen to me. We need to give the little one back. Okay, bad things will happen.
There are two of them?
They're gonna kill us.
I'll do whatever I have to take care of you.
You would retreat in the face of opportunity.
That horn was rather girthsome.
Picking up good vibrations.
Here's hoping we kill Bigfoot on the way home, huh?
All right, so that was Death of the Unicorn. And with that movie, I think that looks like it might be pretty good. I think that they're playing on the legend of a unicorn being impossible to catch, because I'm trying to look up unicorn right now and see what the legend of a unicorn says about it. Okay, it's not giving me the information that I'm looking for in order for this to be a quick thing. So what I understand about unicorns in mythology, so obviously a unicorn is a mythological creature because there are no horses with horns growing out of their foreheads. But the thing is, if I remember right, unicorns are supposed to hold the secret to immortality in their blood, and their blood is supposed to be silver. And I think it's in the blood and also in the horn itself, but it's supposed to be impossible to catch a unicorn in order to harness these things to bring about immortality and whatever other things that the unicorn is supposed to be able to bring for you. So now what happens with this movie, it looks like, and it says in the premise that they hit the unicorn and they take it someplace to see about helping it or studying it or whatever the case might be. I think the twist with this one is that it's not that it's impossible to catch unicorns, rather than you should not catch a unicorn because they're actually extremely violent and they go around offing people, you know, whether it is another unicorn from their herd or whatever it is, or in this case, it seems to be either the mother or the father unicorn that is seeking revenge, trying to get back their child or their young, their offspring, whatever you want to call a baby unicorn, a colt, as a baby horse is called. So I think that this movie looks like it's going to be a fun watch. It's something that I look forward to seeing at some point. I can definitely see how they're doing it as a comedy, but it seems that they're not leaning very heavily into the comedy though. And I hope that that's what the case is. So like, it's one thing to have comedic moments in there just to kind of break the tension. It's another thing to have a competing between the comedy and the horror itself. So like, because there are some horror movies out there like that, just like I think it's called Ed and Tucker Fight Evil or something like that. And that movie, it's a horror movie in the sense of the things that happen to the victims in the movie, but like it's all accidental though, so it's supposed to be really ironic and comedic because these people are trying to survive and they're actually, you know, meeting their demise by their own hands and stuff, and the way it's happening is funny. So it's like you're laughing at stuff that you shouldn't be laughing at, versus, well, all this horrible stuff is happening, but then we're going to tell this quick joke to break the tension a little bit right before something else horrible happens. I can deal with that a little bit better. So yeah, I do look forward to this movie right here, and just as a reminder, like I said before, it's rated R. It's a horror comedy, and you see that it stars Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd, and Will Poulter. And there's some other names in there too. Like, matter of fact, if we go back and look. Oh, and by the way,
is there something?
Oops. So that's Will Poulter right there. So I'm sure that you've seen him in a couple of things before. But now this guy right here, the bald guy, I don't know his name. This guy right here. But in the show Barry that was on HBO, he had a role in there and he was very funny. So again, I don't know his name, but you know, he's a funny guy. So that's something that would make me think that there's going to be some funny parts in the movie, even if I didn't know that it was a comedic horror. And then also her right here, I don't know her name, but I've seen her in different things also. So I think that that's a movie that I'm looking forward to seeing also. And it should be a fun watch in a dark way. It should be a fun watch in a dark way, but regardless, it should be a fun watch, especially for those that are horror movie fans. All right, and we are going to get ready for our final movie. The name of this movie is The Woman in the Yard. Now, this is a Blumhouse production, and Blumhouse does things similarly to how A24 does things. They like to have like darker content matter and more gritty and not your conventional bright, shiny movies and all that. I have also seen the trailer for this movie, but this movie, and I think I only watched the trailer once, maybe twice, but the premise for this movie is a mysterious woman repeatedly appears in the family's front yard, often delivering chilling warnings and unsettling messages, leaving them to question her identity, motives, and the potential danger she might pose. So, just to give some further information about the movie, so starring in this movie, you have Danielle Detweiler, and I haven't seen her in a whole lot of different things, but she was in the movie that came out on Netflix during the Christmas season called Carry On, which, by the way, is another great movie. Man, that is a really good movie. I have some videos that I need to do because I'm naming just some good ones right there. But she's in that movie. She doesn't star in it, but she does have a I'll say she has a significant role in the movie. So maybe you could say that she's starring in it. So I'll say she co-stars. She co-stars in the movie, and she plays a female agent in that movie. Now, I think I've seen her in something else too. Okay, no. No, I think that's the only thing that I've seen her in personally. So yeah, so Danielle Detweiler, she plays the agent in Carry On Netflix. If you've seen that movie, if you have seen that movie, then you should know who I'm talking about. I don't have anything else that I can name that I've personally seen where I can like name her. I thought she was somebody in one episode of The Office, but I didn't see that on her lineup, so I don't think that was her. And then this movie also stars Russell Hornsby. Now, I've seen him in several things, but I can't think of anything except for he plays as the father on the Amazon Prime series BMF. Now, The Woman in the Yard, this one's a little bit different because, yes, it's another horror movie. Now, keep in mind, I didn't choose to look at all horror movies. That's just how things lined up. The Woman in the Yard is another horror movie, but this one is rated PG-13. It's not rated R, it's PG-13. This also comes out on March 28th. I didn't know that all these movies were going to be coming out on the same day when I chose them. And this one is also going to be in theaters only. It will not be on streaming services, at least not at first. I thought that this was going to be a Prime or a Hulu movie, but I was wrong. So the reason I say this one is different is because it's a PG-13 movie. And that concerns me because it seems that a lot of times when horror movies are PG-13, they tend to pull a lot of punches when it comes to like the scares, the content matter, the way that they approach subject matter and things of that sort. So I'm a little bit concerned about it, but before I get too much into it, let's see what the trailer shows us.
Mommy, are you gonna have a good day today or a bad day?
I just feel so sorry.
Now that Daddy's dead, we still gonna live here?
You know what? I don't know.
Ooh, pity me.
What's in these? What am I tasting? Doritos? I like it.
Hey, Mom, there's a woman in the yard.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Where'd she come
I
from?
don't know that either.
Maybe she's dead.
Mama!
Come here, baby. It's nothing to be scared of, okay?
Daddy will know what to do.
All right.
Hello? Can I help you? My husband will be back very soon.
We both know your husband's not coming home. I don't come unless I'm called. Today's the day.
Why is her face covered?
How did she get here?
Mama, I think she's closer.
Hey, you got 10 seconds to get off my property. You children are such darlings. Ripe enough to eat. Who is this woman, huh? I am trying to protect you.
Close the blinds, Tay. She needs a light to make her shadow. Come on.
You've been praying for me. Let me help you like you asked me to. Stay away from my family. Today's the day.
All right. So that was a look at the woman in the yard. So I guess I wasn't really paying much attention when I watched that trailer the first time, or when I watched whatever trailer it was before, because either it was the initial trailer that's just a teaser, or I just wasn't really paying attention because I don't remember all those details and stuff. And, you know, it says that it's from the same producers as Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke. And then also from the same, I think it said, director as The Shallows, which I really like that movie. I tend to call that movie Murphy's Law because just everything for Blake Lively's character is just everything bad that could happen to her in that movie seemed to be happening in the situation that she was in The Shallows. But it said that the director of The Shallows directed The Woman in the Yard, and the producers of Black Phone produced Woman in the Yard. I like both of those movies. And then seeing what I was seeing in this trailer just now, I had to have been sleeping or something because this actually looks pretty good. But like I said, by it being PG-13, it concerns me because I feel like they might have some weak ending, or when things could really hit hard, they might decide to pull back for some reason and just not make things as good as it could be, because, you know, it's not going to be a super bloody or gory movie at all because it's PG-13. You know, there was a movie that I watched just recently Uh, it was a bad movie too. It was such a bad movie. It was what was it? Don't think it, don't speak it. The Bye Bye Man. Oh my goodness, that movie was awful, so awful. But there was a particular scene in the movie that deals with someone getting hit with a shotgun and no blood, no anything. Just you saw a little bit of dirt fall off the wall from when they blasted back, hit the wall, and fell down. So, because of that, by this being PG-13, I think it's going to be something of that. Like we saw the blood on the woman's hands, or the ghost, or the entity, whatever she is. She seems like she might be the angel of death, maybe, but it's hard to say at this point. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting, though. It looks like the special effects are going to be pretty cool. And there's a movie called Lights Out where this woman used the shadows, or this spirit, or this demon, or whatever you want to call it. It will move around in the shadows, and it couldn't be where the light was because it needed the darkness to move around. It seems like this is kind of taking a play on that, because you heard the woman say, cut the lights off, pull the shades down. She needs the shadows to move around. So that makes me think that it has a similarity to that movie, but I kind of think that might be counterproductive to create more shadows if you need shadows to move around. It seems like you would want more light in there, so that way she couldn't reach you. I don't know. I would have to watch the movie, which I plan on doing at some point. But that movie looks like it's going to be a good movie. Also, it looks like the role of Russell Hornsby is going to be more so like in flashback mode, because it says that he's gone, and they keep on saying, I wish Daddy was here. And apparently it was a car accident, because the tarp comes off the car and you see that it's all just smashed up and everything. And the spirit woman, death lady, says, we both know your husband is not coming. And then that's when they showed the smashed car. And I think there was actually a clip where they showed them driving, and then the camera kind of goes erratic a little bit. So yeah, he was lost in the accident. So he'll probably be in different flashbacks, but I don't think he's going to have a major role in the movie at all. But again, this movie comes out on March 28th, just like the other two. So I think that I'm looking forward to all three of these, actually, for different reasons. A Working Man looks like it's going to be action packed from the time that the girl gets abducted to the time that she gets rescued and returned back to her parents. I think it's going to be nonstop action in that movie. Death of a Unicorn, I think that's just going to be a very different and out the box movie, showing us things that we kind of never really thought about before. When it comes to dealing with the unicorn, and how brutal maybe they could be if they existed, and things like that. And with a couple laughs here and there. Hopefully it's just laughs here and there and not throughout. Because I could tell, like the one shot where it showed Jenna Ortega's character vaping, the way she did it and the camera angle, I could tell that was supposed to have been a joke. But to me, already, it didn't hit. Paul Rudd is a pretty funny guy, but I know in Ant-Man, they had him trying to be funny, and his jokes weren't hitting at all. So I'm just hoping that they don't try too hard with making it comedic. I hope that the comedy falls where it lies, and it's like kind of natural and organic rather than forced. But I hope that they focus more on the story and the horror versus the jokes. Because if you've seen Thor, what was the name of Thor 3 called? I don't even care. Thor 3, they focused a whole lot on the jokes. And while a lot of people did like that movie, I didn't like it really at all, because they focused so much on the jokes. So yeah, and then just going back to The Woman in the Yard, it looks like that could be a good thriller by being PG-13. It makes me curious about how they're going to execute things, see if it's still going to hit the same way as if it had been rated R. So, you know, all three of these are coming out on March 28th. There's no known date, to my knowledge, at the time of recording this for The Conjuring Last Rites, but hopefully this turns into a good cinematic year. And I'll end this movie by saying, because I know that I covered 3 different horror movies, and then the 4th one being an action movie. But it seems like over the last maybe 1 to 2 years, people have been starting to respect horror movies a whole lot more, which makes me very happy to see that. Because before, you know, you always heard people say, I don't like horror movies. I don't watch horror movies. All horror movies are the same. They're all stupid. They're all this and that, this and that. And there was like a core group of people that would enjoy the horror movies, me being part of that group. But now it seems that they're starting to spread out because they're trying slowly to be more creative. They're trying to be more outside the box, and they're trying to put better production into horror movies as a whole too. So I think that the industry is starting to take horror movies more seriously. And it seems like, even though this was more than 1 or 2 years ago, I think when it came out in 2017, that kind of changed the trajectory a little bit of what people could do with horror movies. And yes, it's a remake of the Stephen King miniseries from back in the 90s, which is based off the Stephen King book and all that. But just the way it came out, it was the first #1 box office movie of a horror genre in years, or maybe ever. So I think that started to turn things around a little bit, and people started to see the potential that you could have with horror movies. So this wasn't meant to be a horror movie, like a horror movie support group video or anything like that. But I will say that I'm glad personally, by horror movies being my #1 genre, as far as movies that I like, I'm glad to see that they're starting to get more respect. You're starting to see more horror movies out here, and more doesn't always mean better, but when there is passion put behind them, mixed with ability and skill, then you start to see good things coming about. Because there's still a lot of bad ones that come out, but there's starting to be more and more good ones that are coming out that kind of like even the scale a little bit. So with that being said, I think that this is a good spot for us to stop the video. So I want to once again thank you all for coming and watching my video, checking out my channel. But before you leave, I just want to ask one more time, if you don't mind, please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all those good things, so that way you can help spread the word around about my reviews, so that way we can all join in on the conversation together. Once again, as I said at the beginning of this video, my name is Dwayne McAllister, and this is my 3 cents. Thanks.